Hello, welcome back to Up the Villa. This is our opposition preview. Villa v Leicester, joined by Locks from Blue Tinted Glasses. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good, mate. Thanks for inviting me on. Looking forward to chatting, mate. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So, really vaguely to start with, how are you feeling as a Leicester fan at the minute, back in the Premier League, having played, around sort of like 5 months worth of Premier League football?
Yeah, mate. It's been a tough few months. It was a weird season leading up to the season because as a newly promoted team, you're kind of normally excited to get back into the big time, but it was a bit different for us. We didn't think we deserved to be in the championship in the first place. A lot of Leicester fans have a lot of entitlement. We felt very aggrieved that we went down. But we were kind of expecting the worst this season with losing our manager at the start, or in the summer, getting in Steve Cooper, who no one wanted. If I'm completely honest with you, not many Leicester fans wanted him, so we were filled with a bit of dread. It didn't start the absolute worst it could have done. It went quite well, but of recent, with the fixtures that we've had, it's gone downhill a little bit into the bottom three now. I think we're actually 19th, so below Ipswich. So, on paper, it's looking a bit, looking like we might go down, but a lot of us still have faith that we will stay up, mate. So there is still cause for optimism, I think.
Yeah, I imagine it was tough losing a manager that gets you promoted. You sort of want to build on sort of like the foundation of what you did in the championship. So just touch on Cooper, like what sort of went wrong, if anything, because obviously, you weren't exactly like rock bottom. So was it more of the sort of like the fans that really wanted him to go, or was it a bit of a collective of everything?
Well, believe it or not, mate, we were actually 16th when we sacked him. So, we were 2 places above the relegation zone. If I'm honest, I've had time now to reflect on it because I was definitely in the camp of get rid of him. And I think, to be honest with you, to be fair to the bloke, he never had the support from the fans from the start. And some people think that's down to the Forest connection. I'm sure that played a part for some people. I do know, though, a lot of people were just very uninspired by the appointment. I mean, since Leicester City won the Premier League, the board, our owners, have gone down a very kind of possession-based route of football. I mean, we went to Brendan Rodgers. We filled a gap for 8 games with Dean Smith, but then we went to Enzo Maresca. We had Claude Puel as well, before Rodgers. So, yeah, very possession-heavy. And when Enzo Maresca left, I mean, they didn't appoint Cooper for about, I think it was nearly 4 weeks. It was maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And we thought, yeah, they're taking the time here to pick the right guy. And, we were linked with Graham Potter. We were linked with Ruud van Nistelrooy at the time. And, when Steve Cooper was announced, I just think fans were uninspired by it and a bit confused by the direction the club were going in. Of course, you can always put the spin on it that, he's stayed up. He's kept Forest up in the past with, I say limited resources. He had loads of resources, but maybe players that he didn't really want. But yeah, I think that played a massive part. And the difference now with the new manager, looking back now in hindsight, the new manager's had all the support in the world from the fans, a lot of excitement. So he's had the head start that Steve Cooper never had. So, we had a couple of decent performances under Cooper, to be fair to him, but the football was atrocious. And again, some critics of Leicester would say you're not in a position to be worrying about the style of football. I get it, but you look at his time at Forest. Where did they go? Where did they improve second season? There was no improvement. He was sacked before Christmas, and look at them now. Look at Forest now without Cooper. So yeah, that's what happened to him, mate.
Yeah, so you've got the new man in Nistelrooy. You got off to sort of like, you had the bounce, didn't you? You had the win against West Ham, the draw against Brighton, and you've lost 4 in a row since then. So, your fixtures have been tough. You've had Liverpool, Man City, etc. So, those on paper, you probably look at them and think you're not going to win. But what have you been impressed with him so far? And sort of like, has he changed the way in which that you play now? Is there a difference between Cooper and Nistelrooy?
Well, I think in the first couple of games, interestingly, we weren't looking to control the ball. We did have a decent share of the possession, actually, especially against Brighton. I think we actually had more than them, but we were definitely looking to soak up a lot of pressure and try and hit them on the break, and then try and control the games at times where we could. But we conceded, I think it was like 78 shots in 3 games or something silly like that, which is just ludicrous. I think West Ham actually had the most shots of any Premier League team for like 10 years against us, and we won that one. So it's not all it wasn't smooth sailing. I think of recent, we've started to see a little bit more of what Ruud van Nistelrooy wants to do. I mean, in defense, we're kind of setting up in a compact 4-4-2, which we didn't really do too much under Cooper. And although we're still conceding a lot of chances and conceding a lot of goals, I think the XG has actually reduced, XG against us in some of the games. And I mean, I look at the Man City game. I don't know if you've seen it, mate, but the Man City game we played on the weekend, we schooled them. And I know it's Man City that are going through a really bad run of form, but we were really good. We were really, really good. And again, critics will say, well, you didn't win, you lost 2-0, and it's true. But Jamie Vardy, the guy who normally is super clinical, he missed a couple chances he really should have put away. And I personally genuinely believe that we should have, got something from that game. If not, maybe even 3 points. I think we were really unlucky. And I think the biggest miss that hasn't helped us whatsoever is Mads Hermansen. For me, top 3 in terms of performances this season, goalkeeper-wise in the league. There's some big. He's already been linked to some big clubs. Newcastle, I think, Man City are linked with him now as well. So yeah, he's catching the eye of some clubs. But I mean, he is the reason in my eyes why we weren't in the bottom 3 under Steve Cooper. The number of shots he was saving, the XG, all of that against that he was saving, it was incredible. So that's a massive miss, and it looks like we're still going to be without him for a few more weeks, which is really unfortunate.
What happened with that one goalkeeper you had? And the fans like cheering him. What's going on with him?
Yeah, Danny Ward. So he was our goalkeeper when we got relegated from the Premier League. We sold Schmeichel in the summer. He came in and he was the worst player on the pitch every single. He was just atrocious, and it was weird because he'd been our number 2 goalkeeper for a couple of years, or 3 or 4 years, and he'd always come in cup games, and he'd be incredible. But when he came into the first team in the Premier League, he was shocking. A big part of the reason we went down. And when Hermansen got injured away to Newcastle, he came off at half time. Hermansen did. Ward came in and conceded 3 goals in 11 minutes or something like that. He got a lot of blame for that loss, but then he played against Wolves. We conceded 3 goals to Wolves. And no word of a lie, mate. The defense are terrible, right? Our defenders are terrible, but they've been bailed out so many times this season by Mads Hermansen, but there was just an aura. It just felt that the energy was so negative at the back with Danny Ward behind them, and they looked like they couldn't trust him. And Ruud van Nistelrooy, spoke after the game. I think it was the Wolves game, and said, it's not on, because a lot of the fans were booing him. A lot of the fans, I think he made an easy, simple save, and the fans were like cheering, obviously sarcastically. So it's tough. It's not nice, and I think it's the right decision. Ruud van Nistelrooy's just taken him out of the picture, dropped him completely from the squad, and just taking him out of the environment, because it was really toxic.
I mean, one player who I'll just get terrified of, Vardy. I'm not going to lie. He's absolutely terrorised Villa over the years, and Harvey Barnes was the same. He just scored against us every time we played you guys. Thankfully, he doesn't play for you anymore, but he plays for Newcastle, and he normally scores against us with them. So, as a fan, is Vardy the best Leicester player like ever for what he's achieved?
He's the GOAT. He's known as the GOAT at Leicester, yeah, for sure. And he plays onto it. I think he wears a hat which says GOAT as well. So he's not humble, Vard. So yeah, look, it will be it will be the saddest day, mate, when he retires, and it's not long away now. We keep saying that, but it's really not long away now. I think he's not our top goal scorer. Somebody from 1930 has that, but you know what I mean, one of them. But he's by far the best Leicester player in pretty much every single Leicester fan's eyes. If I go in order: Championship winner, Premier League winner, Golden Boot winner, FA Cup winner, Champions League quarter finalist. He's done it all for Leicester, and if this is somebody who had a tag on his ankle until the age of 24 and, couldn't play, had to go home early, had to leave the pitch half time sometimes for Stocksbridge Park Steels, and 3 years later he was in the Premier League, scoring on his debut against Man United, his Premier League debut. So it's absolutely incredible what he's done. And yeah, he will go down, I think, as a Premier League icon. I won't say legend, but a Premier League icon without a shadow of a doubt. Everything he's done and sticking at Leicester and scoring all those goals at Leicester, it's incredible.
Were you surprised that he's been able to still score the amount of goals he has this season? Or were you sort of confident that he'd still be able to get like some decent numbers?
Well, I think he only scored 4 in the last season when we got relegated, but the whole team had a shocker that year. And I think last season in the Championship, he had the highest goal per minute ratio of his whole career. I think he scored like 19 Championship goals, I think, something like that, between 15 and 19. And now, since Ruud van Nistelrooy's come in, actually, I've seen that he's had his most shots per game since 2018. So Ruud's clearly working on him there. It's not a surprise with Vardy because, the amount of times you say, oh, he's old, oh, he's done. He might he'll go through a period now of not scoring for 5 games and fans will say he's done. And then he'll come back and score, a hat trick or something like that. So he's just one of them. He's a freak of nature. He's got all his cryotherapy stuff at home. He's got he's paid for it and put it all in his house. He still drinks his Red Bulls pre-match and post-match. And I think he only trains once a week. After a game, he won't train for a few days. He'll have one midweek and then he'll be ready for the game. So he's managing himself, his body himself, and fair play to him, mate. He's got 6 months left on his deal now. So whether we extend that another year, I think it probably depends on how many goals he scores between now and then. But no Leicester fan would have a problem with him kind of sitting in the, in the changing room, not playing. As long as he's around the place, we'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, 2 other players that have sort of caught my eye. Mavadidi, I like him. Yep. And Buonanotte from Brighton on loan. I think he's like so good. So, I mean, who should Villa sort of be looking out for at the weekend?
Mavadidi's one. Both them players that you've mentioned, on their day they'll turn up. Mavadidi very inconsistent at the moment in the Championship. I think he's an incredible Championship level player. In the Premier League, we're not convinced yet. Facundo Buonanotte, in my opinion, will go on, to be a £50 million player either this summer or next. A big club will take the punt on him. I think he's been incredible. One player you've not mentioned, which I'm telling you will know about this guy, and no matter what I think how the game will go, you will spot this guy on the weekend. It's Bilal El Khanous. He is our new number 10. We signed him. He's a Moroccan international. We signed him from Belgium back in the summer for about 20 million quid. Not many of us had heard of him. Sorry. A bit of a shaky start because Facundo Buonanotte was doing so well. He couldn't really get into the team. But with an injury now to Fatawu, who's our right winger, he's got an ACL. He won't play again this season. Facundo's been moved out wide. So Bilal El Khanous has come into that number 10, and oh my God, what a player! What a player! I don't know how he didn't win man of the match against Man City. I think it's probably because we lost 2-0. But he is just a delight to watch. A proper old school number 10. So creative, so good on the ball, dropping deep. His playmaking, his progressive carries, winning the ball, getting his foot in. He's incredible. So I have a feeling that you are gonna see him this weekend and really like it, mate.
To be fair, I have spotted him for one game he played. I don't know whether he scored. Did he score against West Ham?
No, he scored against Man United in the Cup. Against Man United in the Cup. I don't think he scored against West Ham, but he was very... Oh, he did score against West Ham. Sorry, you're right. Yeah, he did. And he was great in that game as well, besides the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the game I watched because I was like, this looks quite good, this guy. Talking about, like, staying up then, I imagine that's, like, the main aim. Like, where are you at then? Because, I mean, Southampton are gone. Like, they're done and dusted. I think there's a 10-point gap for them to even get level on points with the team that's above the relegation zone. So, if it's not you that goes down, who are you looking at thinking they're the ones that are going to go?
I think Ipswich. I mean, if it's not Ipswich, it's going to be us. It's going to be us. So I've got to say Ipswich. And then the third team, I really don't know. I mean, you see a rejuvenated Wolves, and I always thought that, to be fair, which is why a lot of us were so keen on Cooper going as soon as possible, because we thought when these teams around us get new managers, they get a bounce of some kind. You get to the January window, who knows what happens in January? They'll start to rise, and I think that's starting to happen now to Wolves. It's a good that Cunha is now out for. It's only 2 games, isn't it? Actually, so I mean, it's a bonus, but. Yeah, I think I'd probably say it has to be Wolves or Everton. I don't think Palace are going to go down. I don't think West Ham are going to go down. I don't think Man United are going to go down, unfortunately. But I think it has to be Leicester, Wolves, and Everton. I think one of them teams will go down. And I think Wolves they might just have a little bit too much quality, and Everton just have the know-how, and they just seem to do it every year, survive by the skin of their teeth. So, look, I'll tell you now, if Leicester don't invest smartly in January, we are down. I don't doubt that. I think we have to spend quite a bit of money, and whether that's possible or not because of PSR, I mean, we're already about to get slapped on the wrist again, I think, from the sounds of it. We might get a little minor deduction, which might be costly come the end of the season. But yeah, if we can spend good money on good quality, then I think we can just about stay up. But it's going to be tight. It's going to be really tight.
Yeah, I think with Everton, it's just it got us in the end. You can't keep being down there, and they're down there every season. And I saw on Sky today their actual goal scoring stats. They're like the worst in the league. So I think they'll be in the mix as well. So what have you made of Villa this season?
I've not paid too much attention because I hate seeing Yuri Tillemans in anything other than a blue shirt. But no, I think you know what, with Villa, because I've got quite a lot of Villa mates, and obviously, I've been bantering them over the years when Leicester were up in the big time. And to be fair, though, I think, rivalry aside and all of that with my mates and stuff, it's so nice to see a Villa up there with a great manager, great players, overperforming. I mean, you probably get this all the time. You're overperforming. The players, I mean, I absolutely love a few of you. I love Yuri, even though it ended a little bit sourly. I love him. Morgan Rogers, incredible. Jhon Duran, I love watching it. And Watkins, obviously, we all know. So, yeah, obviously, it was always going to be tough in terms of the league position this year with Champions League. I mean, we know that. From we nearly got relegated the year after we won the Premier League. We made it to the quarterfinal of the Champions League. So it's always tough to juggle those competitions with injuries and stuff like that. And then obviously the limitations with PSR as well. That's a pain in the backside. So, and you saw it with Newcastle as well, right? They didn't have a great year the year following them qualifying for Champions League. So I'm danger men all over the place, I think, for Villa. They do scare me, but as a neutral, when we're not playing each other, mate, I do really, really enjoy watching you guys, big time.
Cheers, mate. So what can we expect on Saturday then? What are you thinking is going to happen at sort of like 3:00 on Saturday?
I'm going to say, I think we'll have a good game, mate. I think we'll have a good game. I think, even though we lost 2-0 against Man City, I think there will be a lot of confidence from the performance. The way we played, how we executed it, I think was spot on, other than, a couple of lacking judgment with their goals. I think there'll be confidence. I think it'll be brewing, and you did us in the home game 2-1. It was close in the end because we scored towards the end of the game, and I think we were on top at the end. However, do I see us winning, mate? I don't know. I'm going to say a Leicester win. I think we'll try and we'll nick it. I think it'll be close. I'll probably say something like a 2-1 or something like that, mate. I think we need to get wins from somewhere, and I'm not saying Villa's an easier game, but compared to some of the games that we'll have, like Arsenal, Liverpool, it is the easier of them lot. So, I don't know where we're going to get enough points from to stay up, but I am looking at Villa as one that we can hopefully get 3 from. So, yeah.
It's because you got your main man up front as well. His record at Villa Park must be really good. So Let's hope you eyed his Red Bull before the game anyway. So, but yeah, mate, cheers for coming on. It's been great chatting to you. I'll tag your channel in the title and the description as well. So Villa fans, go and check it out. I did a little clip on their preview as well for the game. So cheers, mate.
Thank you so much, mate.